What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So, a lot of people are really enjoying the new Tenet Glaxion weapon in Warframe. I just want to do a grab bag of a bunch of, information on this Tenet Glaxion that might be useful to you if you are planning to farm this thing out and put some builds on it. So, we'll be going over an impact Tenet Glaxion, how useful that is. We'll be showing how many enemies this weapon can really change. We'll be disproving a Reddit post I saw that got a little bit of traction. And also showing some level 10,000 Glaxion slaying with a magnetic Glaxion. And also a fun build for Saren. If you like acid shells on the Sobek, you might like this one a lot too. So let's get right into it. But before we do, make sure you sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, overview videos, farming guides, all that kind of stuff. You're in the right place for Warframe content. Also check out the live stream channel. A lot of the stuff we test on the live stream, and the next Kuva Heck level 10,000 Void Cascade is already set to go, just going to be on the next stream. So basically come up, make sure that follow button on the stream. Alright, so let's get into what we're going over today. Now, I do have an Impact Glaxion. I'm going to show you how an Impact Glaxion can work, what it can be good with. I do still overall recommend a Magnetic Glaxion. But I just want to show, because I got so many questions about an Impact Glaxion, I feel like it was my duty to make sure that I showed you guys how an Impact Glaxion does work. So we got 58.4% Impact Glaxion. The main is going to be the Magnetic Glaxion 60%. This is the best one for sure. This one is pretty good though. So we're gonna use this and show how it works. It's kind of like a more goofy one. And as far as the first build we're going to show a Combustion Beam Saren setup. Now this will work on any beam weapon. But the reason we're using this on the Glaxion is because the Glaxion is new, to be honest. So this mod is going to make enemies explode in a 18-meter AoE on death. And with Saren's third ability, you make that AoE do toxin procs. You throw on Roar, it's even more damage. So the things that's going to scale this could be toxin mods, Bane of the whatever mods, and things like that. We're going to also disprove that Reddit post with Prime Shred. But we'll go over that in a second. So basically what you want to do, you want to jam as many toxin mods as possible. So you have a Toxin Riven, that's great. Toxin mod, Combustion Beam. And this is meant for Corpus, so we're going to do Bane of the Corpus on here. So this to reach to get about like 35-ish meters of beam range. And do not use Primary Frostbite because the Glaxion has base cold on this build, which to become viral with just toxin mods. So we're going to summon in some level 225 Corpus techs. We got a lot of stuff to go over, so we're not going to dwell on this part for too long. Cast your abilities with Saren. And when you kill an enemy, an AoE toxin proc goes out. You kill one more enemy, it's AoE explosion, and it's pretty decent. You go into mission, and it's going to be even more deadly. So yes, on kill, you're going to be doing a big toxin AoE. Certain things are going to buff this, like Elemental. So as you see right there, they're going to die really fast. 116k in a toxin AoE. It's going to be a very similar build to my Acid Shell Saren Sobek loadout. It's basically just the same thing. I put Arcane Aegis because I felt like it. And yeah, it's just pretty easy. Now, this will work on any Glaxion. Does not need to be an Impact Glaxion. Let's get some gameplay footage of what this looks like in mission, too. And yeah, by the way, I had the wrong mods on my Nautilus for the previous video. I don't know why I had Mystical Bond instead of Manifold Bond, but I did. So, that was a mistake. Alright, so let's go over some gameplay footage here. Now, here it is in mission. Now, the game's been kind of stuttering for me a lot recently, so sorry about these freezes. But as you can, this is Steel Path Corpus Survival, so it's very similar to Acid Shells. You just kill one enemy and the entire area is just dead around them. It does work on Grenier, not as well, because remember, Toxin procs do go through Corpus shields. So yeah, you can use this for, I basically use this for Tenet Lich hunting. If you want to kill Tenet Lich missions really quickly, just bring any kind of Glaxion. I mean, again, any beam weapon will work. I used to use this on the Phantasma, but if you want to min-max it more, have a Toxin Riven in every Toxin mod. It will make the Toxin AoE stronger. You just go in there, blast all the Corpus down, and just make sure you have your abilities active. If you forget to recast them, it's not going to be doing it. You're like, where'd all the damage go? Your 3 is probably not active. Your Roar is probably not active. Even throw on Venom Dose, too, for even more damage. And there you go. That's going to be an 18-meter AoE, which is a larger AoE than Acid Shells. Of course, Acid Shells will work for this, but, the Tenet Glaxion's fun. So, all right, let's move on to the next Mythbuster kind of thing here. We're going to be going over the Reddit post that I was seeing where a Reddit user was stating, let me actually just read what they said. Shred allows the Glaxion to charge to 20 enemies, it seems. The it seems part is what you need to really focus on there, because if we look at this clip, it might look like it actually is chained to 20 enemies. But the problem is this guy, well, first off, the quality is terrible. This guy has gigantic damage. He doesn't even know what's happening right here. So, after lots of testing, this dude is just wrong. The weapon will only chain twice if you have Prime Shred. This guy is shooting at enemy dead bodies, and that's a feature of the Glaxion you might not be aware of. It can chain from dead bodies. So let's go ahead and show how this actually works when you're not having gigantic damage numbers covering your screen. And that's going to be involving Prime Shred. It's also going to be involving just, you know, playing the game as normal. So we're going to do a double duty here. We're going to use the Pocket Gloom loadout. And this is with, now this requires Impact Glaxion, to be fair. You need to have an Impact Glaxion for this setup. But what we're doing right here is we're using Impact procs and Cold procs. During the enemy being staggered by an Impact proc, the Cold proc will slow down the animation of the Impact proc. So kind of interesting there. Alright, so if you shoot an enemy's dead body, it will chain to other nearby enemies. Now, having Nautilus equipped for this is probably not the right way to do this. Let's just unpause them, we'll put out Invincibility, and we'll let Nautilus just die. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and not cast Saren's 3 because I die too fast. But as you can see, this guy is stuck in the stun animation for the Impact proc because of the Cold procs doing double duty there. So if we cast Roar to get some more damage, keep in mind this build is not meant for these guys. As you see, it looks like it's chaining to more enemies when you are shooting the dead body, because the amount of enemies it will hit is limited by punch through and by how many enemies it's allowed to chain to. So once the enemy's dead, it might look like it's chaining to more, but it's technically not counting the enemy that it's shooting the dead body of. So you will not get more than 6 enemies chained total. Well, actually, it's 8 enemies hit, but 6 enemies chained, because it will chain to 3 enemies from the initial target. You will not get more than that. That guy just had way too big of damage numbers and was shooting dead bodies not realizing it. So, get some more tanky enemies in here. Oh. Okay. I guess I didn't recast that, or despawn that guy. But yeah, we get some more tanky enemies in here. And you're going to notice that it's a lot more noticeable when you have more tanky enemies what's happening. So let's get some, like, a bunch of Exogoxtans, I guess. Alright, so these guys will probably survive for a little bit longer. We're going to actually cast our buffs, too. Hopefully Nautilus doesn't ruin the whole situation here. Looks like Nautilus is messing with it, but that's okay. As you see right there, shooting through multiple enemies with Prime Shred does give you more chaining, but it does not chain to 20 enemies like that guy was saying on Reddit. So, let's go ahead and unequip Nautilus so there's no, you know, corruption of the data here. And yeah, I would still recommend a magnetic roll over this Impact one, but I've got the Impact one equipped right now, so that's what we're going to be showing. The whole, like, mini Gloom thing is funny and all, but it's really not that important. I'm going to also show you how Hemorrhage and Internal Bleeding looks. See, look how many, it looks like it's chained to so many enemies there, but you're shooting a dead body. You're shooting at a dead body, it's chaining off a dead body. Remember, though, that chaining does go through walls, so that is pretty nice. Alright, now let's show how Internal Bleeding mod works on the Impact Glaxion, because you guys are saying it's good or whatever. You're saying, try it out at least. You might notice the name of this build. And IB is worse than HM. It's true. But let's just go ahead and show it right now. So we got an Impact-only build, basically. I can throw on Nourish just to show it is with Viral, too. But the way Internal Bleeding works, Impact status effect has a chance to become a slash proc, double times the chance when the fire is below 2.5. Sadly, this thing has way too much fire rate to ever even get near that 2.5. Not that that would be a very good beam weapon in the first place. So we got minus fire rate for critical delay, and we've got basically everything going in for just no, like we're not diluting our procs, but if you can see right here, status chance, we have a 38% chance to get an Impact proc and a 65% to get a cold. So even with this stuff on here, you would basically need like an Impact mod to even get this. So let's go ahead and try it out. Let's just throw on Nourish as well, so we can see how this goes. Okay, so we're going to be going with Nourish here. And, I mean, it's technically a 58.5% Impact Glaxion, not a 60. So I guess you could maybe say, well, if you had 60, it would be actually a lot better. But I don't really think it would be changing that much. So here we are with Internal Bleeding mod. As you can see, you got 3 Impact procs from being on the target for a while. And they're very small Impact procs at that, like 1,000, 2.6. So let's just keep shooting at them. Now they have 15 slash procs. Pretty good after firing, like, you know, half your magazine on that enemy. And of course, when you do the chaining, you're not going to be seeing many good slash procs, because the chains don't go through headshots. We're going for headshots here to get a lot of these. So, as you can see, very underwhelming. Like, they might have 18 slash procs, but they ain't big slash procs, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and throw on Nourish now, so we have Viral and all this other stuff. Maybe these slash procs will be a little bit more noticeable. Okay, so with Nourish, it's a little bit better. But I guarantee this build will be better with Hunter Munitions instead of Internal Bleeding. Okay, really stacking with those viral. Got 3 slash procs, so after all that, 247. And again, if you're looking at other weapons, they're going to be a lot better for this. But hey, you technically can use the internal bleeding mod if you want to, but I definitely recommend having Vira on them with like Nourish or something like that. Okay, so that's your internal bleeding setup there, showcased. Let's do the exact same build with Hunter Munitions. You're going to see a lot more consistent slash procs. I'm just recommending to not even use this altogether. Like, don't use it in Impact 1. Impact 1 is for fun and just to show how it works. I will probably change this, depending on how the blast proc changes go through. If those blast proc changes in the Jade Chest update are actually good, I might change this to a Heat Glaxion to make it work. I can do Corrosive and Blast easily. Alright, so let's just do no Nourish on the first couple guys. So you got 1 slash proc with that guy. Now, of course, you would throw on Nourish with this because, I mean, you don't want to run slash procs with no Vibro. Alright, there, so finally got them dead. And of course, the magnetic one would be more damage here because of the extra procs. Now we throw on Nourish. And there you go. So, a lot more consistent, I'd say. And of course, it is going to be RNG if you do get those slash procs from internal bleeding in the first place. So with Nourish thrown in, you're seeing slash procs like pretty often, I'd say. When the internal bleeding mod, it did look pretty okay there for a little bit, but in the long run, it's not going to be really doing as much consistently. 35% with the 35% with the internal bleeding mod, and I think Hunter Munitions is also 35 if I recall correctly. So you can do that if you'd like to. Now let's get some level 10,000 Glaxion footage on the screen. Now this was not my clip. This was a clip of someone in my mission, and they were basically using the exact same magnetic Glaxion I recommended in my video, but I'll show you the build that they were using. So we have the magnetic Glaxion with this build. Now instead of my Punch Through Riven, they had Prime Shred on here, and I think instead of the Toxin mod, they had like, what was it? I think they had a Toxin Crit Chance Riven. So that's the big difference there. And let's just go ahead and show how that works, because you can slay out level 10,000s with the Tenet Glaxion. People saying it's worse than the Torrid, you're allowed to say that, but it does not mean that the Tenet Glaxion is bad. So the trash ads die instantly. The Eximus enemies, on the other hand, are not dying as quickly. So once the Overguard gets broken, though, they're pretty much just instantly dead. And of course, it can take out level 10,000 Thrax as well. But yeah, they got Arcane Rage on here. They got Nourish from the Helmet system, and yeah, pretty decent if I do say so myself. That trash ad just instantly died. Now here comes the Thrax. The Thrax definitely is not as quick. You want to go for those headshots on the Thrax, but yeah, it is pretty decent at the end of the day. So that's basically it for the video, guys. The Tenet Glaxion is good. The Tenet Glaxion cannot chain to 20 enemies like that Reddit post said. The Tenet Glaxion Impact version is not really worth it. It's kind of funny to like Impact proc and Cold proc enemies, but why don't you just outright kill them instead? And yeah, Internal Bleeding is not the best mod on it, but you can still use it if you really, really want to. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you found this one fun and helpful. We'll have a Vara rank video out soon. Hopefully there's some news coming out in Warframe eventually as well, and we got plenty of other build videos on the way. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Peace!